Cancer is the second leading cause of death in our country, and today we just got word, as we had at the top of the broadcast, Jeopardy host Alex Trebek was diagnosed with one of the deadliest types of cancer.
He has stage 4 pancreatic cancer. We're also learning that researchers are getting better at detecting cancer. Joining us around the table is Dr. Sabrina Fabi with some of the recent advancements. Great to have you. Thank you.
Thank you.
A lot of people talking about the Alex Trebek news, kind of rocking the world of entertainment today. So talk to me about some of the advancements, specifically detecting from a single drop of blood.
I know. So these researchers at the University of Kansas actually developed this little microengineering chip, this 3D chip, that from a single drop of blood, you can essentially extract these little vesicles or sacs that we find in different cells. And these little sacs are responsible for telling your cells, especially cancer cells or tumor cells, to spread or grow. And so if you can isolate those messages, which they've been able to do through this chip, then theoretically you can detect certain forms of cancer.
So is this, with this research, is this new way of detecting it applicable to one cancer more than another, pancreatic cancer being one of the more difficult to detect, you say?
Right, and so the way that they actually investigated this particular chip was in patients with ovarian cancer. That's another type of cancer that is extremely hard to detect, just like pancreatic cancer, because by the time patients start to have symptoms, it's already too late. You're already stage 3 or stage 4, and it's quite advanced, and the 1-year survival rates on these types of cancer is very, very low. And so to make patients undergo unnecessary diagnostic tests like CT scans or MRIs are quite expensive and commonly aren't covered by insurance companies because they don't find that for the amount of tests and the amount of money that you spend, it's actually worth how many cancer diagnoses you end up detecting. And so something like this that can actually be easy or administered, you can get this just with a drop of a little blood, perhaps it can be utilized more widely and you're not going through all these unnecessary, more costly, expensive imaging exams.
You bring up a good point. Another thing, I know they changed like the mammogram guidelines because they were getting so many false positives, right? And that can, like, you don't want to tell somebody you think you have cancer and then it comes to find out you don't.
Right.
But with the blood, where have they noticed as far as success in terms of, like, are they 98% and saying, yes, this blood actually detected the cancer?
That's a really good question. So the sensitivity, so that brings us to the sensitivity of the test, because things like pancreatic cancer and ovarian cancer, there are blood tests out there like CA-125, but the sensitivity of that test, so when it actually is positive, is not that high. So it can give you a false sense of safety if it comes back negative. And so that's what they're still investigating right now. Researchers are trying to develop a method to maybe explore this with animals, because it's not, these particular exosomes are not just found in humans, but all mammals. So even one day we may be using it on our pets, like our dogs, for instance, because if they can test it there, they may be able to determine the sensitivity and before they go apply it to human testing.
What's the timing of something like this? How soon might we see this? And could it get to the point where you could almost test at home and send it in like you do with other things that are simple to do at home?
It's probably going to be, at least with the way that research development, probably 5 to even 10 years.
Wow.
But I always like to bring promise when I come with different subjects to the station, because it's good to know for patients out there that there is hope, and you should always keep asking your doctors if there's better ways to test for things, not just fall into the rut of how things have always been done.
Always a really interesting insight. Love that you're kind of on the cutting edge of what's happening in the medical field. Sabrina, thanks.
Thank you so much.